What's up, my amazing crew? It's your girl Naia here, and today we're diving into something that's about to blow your gaming minds. So, Google just dropped this bombshell with their Genie 2 for open-world games. And let me tell you, it's like they're handing the keys to the universe over to our controllers. I mean, can you imagine a world where the PNCNs are smarter than your average X? We're about to find out if this is a game changer or just another fancy tech buzzword. So buckle up, grab your snacks, and let's see if this Genie can really grant our gaming wishes. And hey, if you're loving the vibes, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on all the fun. Let's get into it.
What if you could generate a full 3D open world video game from a single prompt or just an image? Well, that's pretty much exactly what Google DeepMind has done with Genie 2. Today, we're going to go over exactly what Genie 2 is, how it works, and how long it will be before you're prompting Elder Scrolls but in space and getting something that, well, hopefully is better than Starfield.
This sounds wild. The idea of generating a whole game just from a prompt is next level. I mean, can you imagine telling it to create a space version of Elder Scrolls? If it actually delivers something better than Starfield, we might be looking at a game changer in the industry. I'm all in for this tech.
So this is Genie 2 from Google DeepMind, which generates not only open world third-person games, but first-person POVs and even driving games. Now, just to clear the air, as with many Google research projects, no, you cannot play this right now. If that bums you out, stay tuned because I do have a few other works in progress that will probably see the light of day. That said, looking at Genie 2 does provide a really good snapshot of where we are in terms of all of this technology. It was not that long ago that Genie 1 was released and it looked like this. They were very simple environments. The characters did tend to blob out quite a bit, and the quote-unquote gameplay was limited to, I believe, 2 seconds. And a very important note was that Genie 1 was released in February of 2024, so we've come a very long way in a very short amount of time.
Wow, just a couple of months and they've made such huge strides. It's crazy to think how quickly tech evolves, from simple blobs to potentially immersive worlds in such a short time. This is why I love following advancements in gaming tech. It's like watching magic happen.
So at its core, Genie 2 is a bit like the AI Doom project that, we took a look at earlier this year. That is to say, it's not really a game engine, but rather a diffusion model that is generating images as you change perspectives. That's not to say that this is a carbon copy of the AI Doom project. This is rather iterating and building upon it, with some Google Flex. The big breakthrough with Genie 2 is that it is much more of a world model than, say, the AI Doom project was. In that baked in, it has a much larger generalization sense of the world, meaning that it can infer ideas about an environment and even understand concepts like, jumping, walking, swimming, or smashing into a wall at 150 miles an hour. Boy, that took a real jump, didn't it? I think the world model idea is really exemplified in this example of like a boat racing game, or maybe it's like Grand Theft Auto Branson, Missouri. You can see here that all 3 instances begin in the same position and players ended up taking 3 different routes.
This is super cool. The fact that players can take different routes from the same starting point shows how dynamic and flexible this tech is. It's like each player gets their own unique experience, which is what gaming should be all about. Imagine the replay value with that kind of freedom.
We can clearly see that the model understands everything from speed to smashing into the sand. What's really impressive is in the sand example, you get actual physical reactions from the sand as well. So again, the model understands what sand is. It can even generate whole new areas that it has not seen before. In this example, we have a fork in the road and we can find out, what happens on the path not taken. All 3 examples begin in the same position. The demo then takes us through 3 different alternate paths, one going to the left, one going to the right, and one turning around. Another important breakthrough is the fact that the model will remember things when they are no longer in view, and they will appear in the same place when you return to that view. That was something that the Doom model did struggle with. So obviously it's very important for maintaining a consistent world. I mean, the video game of where did I leave my keys would be much more difficult if our world model kept forgetting where it put the keys.
That's a hilarious point. Imagine a game where you constantly lose your keys and the world just forgets where they are. It would be chaos. This really highlights how crucial memory is for creating a believable game environment. If the game can't keep track of simple things, how can we expect it to build immersive worlds?
That's right. It's not me being forgetful. It's the world simulation that is out to get me. Now, of course, there are limitations. That said, we do have, I guess the Google add-on DLC pack coming in just a minute that really sets this apart from anything else that we've seen. But first, let's talk about the limitations. Now, the biggest is the fact that Genie can really only consistently generate for about 1 minute. After about a minute, we will tend to get those typical AI video hallucinations that we all love so much. The morphiness, the smokiness, randomly catching on fire from time to time. All of the typical AI video problems. Something else that I've noticed is that the model does tend to get a bit soft in its output as the generation goes on. Take, for example, this kind of Doom-like environment. It starts off relatively sharp, at least as we begin.
That environment looks intense. Starting off sharp really sets the mood, but I can see how it could lose that edge over time. It's like the excitement fades as the visuals get softer. Keeping that intensity throughout is key for immersion, especially in a Doom-like setting.
But as you begin to play the video, you can see sort of the edges get a little bit blurrier and a little bit softer. This is something that we've definitely seen in AI video, especially when you take, say, one generation and then try to extend it by taking the last frame of that video generation and then beginning another generation with that. I'm not sure if that softness issue has more to do with the fact that that was likely an image to video game prompt, whereas if you are text prompting, you might not get that pronounced level of softness. For example, here where the Genie team was showing off that the model can handle complex 3D objects, we don't get the pronounced level of softness. Everything looks fairly sharp. A few other examples of the model understanding not only object permanence, but interactivity. We have some bursting balloons here. We have walking through a door. Quick shout out, by the way, if you've never played What Remains of Edith Finch walking simulator, really great game. And blowing up an explosive barrel in the bad guy's.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Blowing up an explosive barrel in a bad guy's hideout is classic gaming fun. It's those moments that really amp up the excitement and make you feel like a total bodice. This kind of interactivity is what keeps players engaged and on the edge of their seats.
Hideout. Why haven't the bad guys learned to stop carrying around barrels of flammable material? Genie 2 is also capable of doing character animation across a variety of styles. Not necessarily overly impressed with the ladder climb there, but I mean, it's a ladder climb. Most games don't do ladder climbs that well. But the real BFG of Genie 2 is the fact that you can generate NPCs. So this isn't just an endless solo walking simulator, yet you can populate it with other characters. That is actually handled through SEMA. So SEMA is another Google DeepMind project, and it's the scalable, instructable, multi-world agent. Now, I have covered SEMA in the past. This is essentially that AI agent that will play video games for you, learn how to play them, learn how to beat them, and then do it better than you. But by combining SEMA and Genie 2, we now have essentially an AI NPC agent that can be directed to, do whatever you want that NPC to do. And yes, in case you were wondering, you can have your SEMA AI agent then play your Genie 2 AI generated game. Now,
this is next level. Having an AI NPC that can not only interact in the game, but also play it for you, that's like having your own personal gaming assistant. Imagine just chilling while your AI buddy takes care of the gameplay. This could totally change the way we experience games.
Now, I do appreciate the fact that the Google DeepMind team did provide some outtakes just with, AI bloopers, if you will, because it is AI. It's going to do weird stuff. For example, in this generation where a ghost just walks onto screen and wanders off. If you've watched any of my other videos, you will definitely know that I am a huge fan of AI ghosts. Here's another one that was supposed to be a snowboarding game, but apparently this guy is just like, I'm not drunk, you're drunk, and just decided to go parkour his way down the course.
This is hilarious. An AI snowboarding game turning into a parkour adventure. That's the kind of unpredictability that makes AI so entertaining. It's like the AI is just out here living its best life, ignoring the rules. I love it.
Yeah, love it. And finally, a magic spell that ends up going awry. One quick note, by the way, this is actually, all the images are generated in Google's Imagen 3. So, to this magic caster's credit, it does look like 1, 2, 3, kind of blobby there, but almost 5 fingers. So obviously all of this is not really ready for prime time just quite yet. And once again, it's Google DeepMind, so we may actually never see it from Google. But there have been other projects that are sort of simultaneously working on the same idea. For example, Tencent had their version of Game Gen O or Game Gen X, depending on when you ran across it, which promised more or less the same idea. Granted, both Game Gen O and Game Gen X kind of burst onto the scene with announcement trailers. There was never any code released, and then the videos were quietly taken down. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But there's also World Labs, which I looked at in the last video, which is similar in concept in that you could either prompt or generate an environment and kind of go exploring within it. But the technology is definitely coming along. And if you think about taking the SEMA model and then plugging that into Genie 2 and then adding in an LLM like ChatGPT, or, well, I guess in this case it would be Gemini, at this point, you have an open world that you can populate with other characters. Granted, that world only lasts for about a minute, but still, as the old saying goes, this is the worst it'll ever be.
That's a solid point. Even if the world only lasts a minute, it's a glimpse into the future of gaming. The potential for creating immersive experiences is just going to get better from here. It's exciting to think about how quickly this tech is evolving.
In the meantime, I thank you for watching.
Alright, my fabulous crew, we've reached the end of this wild ride through Google's mind-blowing Genie 2. Let's be real, if you're not already hyped about gaming being flipped upside down, I don't know what planet you're on from my initial expectations. I'd say this tech didn't just meet the bar, it kicked it down and did a backflip over it. The concept of whipping up entire gaming worlds just from prompts is no joke. I mean, who knew tech could get this spicy? Forget about X's. PNCNs might just start making better life choices than we do. We've marveled at how far gaming tech has come, and the idea of personalized gameplay, hoo boy, talk about a game changer. You could get a different experience every time now. That's replay value worth getting your game face on for. Seriously, with an AI that turns snowboarding into parkour. It's obvious that anything goes. I just hope my virtual keys don't end up missing like my real ones. So, all in all, I'm pretty much ready to hand over my controller and let my AI buddy take the wheel while I kick back with some snacks. But before you go all rogue like those PNCNs we discussed, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join the family for all the shenanigans to come. Until next time, stay gaming, stay fabulous, and remember, don't let the AI do all the fun stuff. You don't want it to think it can outshine you. See ya!